The majesty of roaring engines and the sheen of chrome evoke luxury and grandeur, but behind the iconic Rolls-Royce is a surprising human story, that of Henry Royce, a boy born into Victorian misery who against all odds built a legendary automotive and aerospace empire. Let's imagine for a moment that hungry child sleeping hugging a dog so as not to freeze, feeding only on bread soaked in milk. How did you go from those hardships to creating the most luxurious cars in the world? This is the untold story of how a poor boy created Rolls-Royce, an epic journey of perseverance, innovation, and obsessive pursuit of perfection. Chapter 1. Childhood in Poverty. The Royce family fell into ruin when Henry was a child. Born in 1863 into a humble peasant family, Henry suffered the bankruptcy of his father, a miller, who ended up in prison for debt and died shortly after, impoverished. At just 9 years old, Royce was left without a father and almost without formal education. He only attended school for 1 year and had to face an uncertain future. To help out at home, the boy took any available work. At the age of 10, he was selling newspapers at train stations and delivering telegrams for a few coins. His childhood was one of misery. Sometimes his only food was bread dipped in milk, and on freezing nights he slept hugging a dog so as not to freeze. These privations forged in him an iron determination. Even in poverty, Henry displayed an insatiable curiosity and a natural talent for mechanics. A glimmer of hope came thanks to a great-aunt. Seeing his potential, she sacrificed part of her income to finance an apprenticeship in railway engineering. In 1878, at the age of 15, Henry entered as an apprentice in the workshops of the Great Northern Railway. Between steam and steel locomotives, he learned mechanics and design quickly. He went so far as to make miniature wheelbarrows in brass that demonstrated his craftsmanship and desire for excellence. However, after 2 years, the aunt could no longer pay for the workshop, and Henry had to abandon the training. At the age of 17, he found himself again without a job or direction, although not without his unwavering will to get ahead. Chapter 2. The self-taught and enterprising young man at adversity didn't stop Henry. In 1881, he returned to London and got a job as an electrician in a fledgling lighting company. Electricity was such a new field that a lack of formal education didn't stop him from excelling. He worked installing lamps and generators, and at night he studied English and mathematics to improve his education. That dedication paid off. In 1882, at the age of 19, he was promoted to chief electrician at the Liverpool branch. However, the power company went bankrupt, and Royce became unemployed. But he turned the crisis into an opportunity. With £20 saved and an entrepreneurial spirit, he set up his own business. In 1884, he founded F.H. Royce & Company in Manchester, a modest workshop where he made small electrical appliances, doorbells, lights, and repaired any machinery. He lived in the same workshop alongside his partner Ernest Claremont, feeding himself bread and tea while reinvesting every penny into the business. The quality of their products soon stood out. By the end of the 80s, it was already building electric cranes and industrial hoists, which were valued for their reliability. But success came at a cost. Henry worked endless hours, neglecting food and sleep, perhaps for fear of poverty. By 1901, after 17 years like this, he was on the verge of nervous breakdown. In addition, foreign competition flooded the market with cheaper electrical equipment. Royce, a perfectionist, refused to lower his quality standards or make materials cheaper, even if it cost him contracts. Worried, his friends intervened. A doctor ordered him to get some fresh air and rest, and Claremont convinced him to buy a small second-hand de Dion-Bouton car to ride outside the factory. Royce agreed, and for the first time took a vacation, a 10-week boat trip to South Africa to visit his wife's family. During the journey, reading The Automobile, Its Construction and Handling, ignited a new obsession in Henry. Returning to England at the end of 1903, Henry returned rejuvenated and determined to build automobiles. Chapter 3. The Spark That Started the Engine. Fresh back from his trip, Henry acted immediately. In 1903, as soon as he returned to England, he bought a French Decauville 10 HP car. Despite his tight finances, he considered it an investment to understand that modern machine that fascinated him so much in theory. When driving it, he detected numerous defects. It vibrated excessively, the engine failed at times, and several parts were of poor quality. Convinced that he could do better, he dismantled the vehicle completely in his workshop. With the philosophy of taking the best that exists and making it better, he set about designing his own car from scratch. In 1904, he built 3 prototypes of a 10-horsepower twin-cylinder car inspired by the Decoville. Against general skepticism, those small cars came to life with Royce's stamp. Smooth engines, smooth transmission, meticulous finishes, the embodiment on wheels of his obsession with perfection. The good results encouraged him. In the following months, he developed 4-cylinder, 20 horsepower, and 6-cylinder, 30 horsepower versions, refining automotive design step by step. Within a year, Henry Royce, almost self-taught in auto mechanics, went from knowing nothing about cars to producing chassis that rivaled the best of the time. But there was still one element missing for his cars to achieve world renown: Charles Rolls. Chapter 4. The Meeting of Rolls and Royce. A Legend is Born. The spring of 1904 united 2 opposing worlds. On the one hand, Henry Royce, a humble engineer from Manchester who built impeccable but unknown cars. On the other, Charles S. Rolls, a 26-year-old aristocrat who owns a luxury car dealership in London, passionate about speed and always looking for the best car for his customers. A mutual friend insisted on introducing them after being impressed with one of Royce's cars. On May 4, 1904, at the Midland Hotel in Manchester, Charles Rolls met Henry Royce. Royce started his modest 10-horsepower twin-cylinder car, and Rolls was amazed to hear the soft, unshaken purr. After testing it, Rolls exclaimed, "I want to sell all the cars you make." Right there, they agreed that Rolls would market Royce's cars, and they would join their surnames in one brand. Rolls-Royce was born. That unlikely partnership, fusing Royce's engineering genius with Rolls' commercial savvy, was destined for success. Despite their disparate backgrounds, both shared a passion for engineering and an ambition to build the best car in the world. That vision soon bore fruit. In December 1904, they exhibited their first models at the Paris Motor Show, astonishing the fledgling British automotive industry with cars that combined power and elegance. In 1906, they formally founded Rolls-Royce Limited, with Henry as chief engineer, Charles as commercial director, and the incorporation of Claude Johnson, the third musketeer, to boost the brand. On Johnson's advice, the company focused on a single, ultra-exclusive model. In 1907, they introduced the Rolls-Royce 40/50 HP, soon nicknamed Silver Ghost. That 6-cylinder, silent and refined as a ghost, and manufactured with unprecedented quality, traveled 24,000 kilometers without breakdowns, an unprecedented feat that led Autocar magazine to proclaim it the best car in the world. Rolls-Royce's reputation was sealed. With the success of the Silver Ghost, in 1908 they opened a new factory in Derby, designed by Royce to increase production while maintaining artisanal excellence. Rolls-Royce had positioned itself as synonymous with luxury, reliability, and mechanical perfection, but its greatest transformation was yet to come. Chapter 5. War Engines. The Leap into Aeronautics. In 1914, the First World War broke out, and Rolls-Royce, like many British firms, put its industry at the service of the country. Charles Rolls, a pioneer of aviation, was no longer around to see it. In 1910, he died in a plane crash at the age of 32, becoming one of the first martyrs of aviation. Without his partner, Henry Royce pressed on, determined to contribute excellence to the cause. Rolls-Royce reoriented its production towards aircraft engines. In 1915, Royce designed the V-12 Rolls-Royce Eagle, which powered numerous Allied fighter aircraft with remarkable reliability. Those robust engines helped secure Allied air superiority, and Royce was so committed to the war effort that he even voluntarily reduced his pay during the war. Following the armistice of 1918, a historic achievement underscored the quality of Royce's engineering. In June 1919, pilots Alcock and Brown made the first non-stop transatlantic flight, from Newfoundland to Ireland, in a Vickers-Vimy biplane powered by 2 Eagle engines. The 16-hour journey was completed without a hitch. demonstrating to the world the power and reliability of Rolls-Royce engines. After the war, Rolls-Royce resumed manufacturing luxury cars in the 1920s, but the aerospace seed had already germinated. Henry Royce continued to develop and perfect aircraft engines, convinced that the future of the company would be both on the ground and in the air. The First World War transformed Rolls-Royce from a builder of exclusive cars to a vital player in the aeronautical industry, opening a new chapter of innovation. Chapter 6: Golden Years, Challenges, and Expansion, 1920 to 1945. The interwar years brought triumphs and challenges. In 1925, Rolls-Royce launched the Phantom, the successor to the Silver Ghost, consolidating its aura of prestige among kings, maharajas, and tycoons thanks to its spectral silence and refinement. In addition, in 1931 it acquired rival Bentley, securing its dominance in the British luxury car market for decades. Bentley specialized in sportiness, while Rolls-Royce maintained the pinnacle of luxury. At the same time, the company reached new heights in the skies. Henry Royce, already in frail health and working from his home in Sussex, oversaw the design of a new aircraft engine that would be crucial in the impending war. He died in 1933 at the age of 70, but he left behind that visionary engine that was completed in 1934, the Rolls-Royce Merlin. During World War II, 1939 to 1945, the Merlin became the backbone of Allied aviation. It powered fighters such as the Supermarine Spitfire and Hawker Hurricane in the Battle of Britain, Lancaster bombers, and even the American P-51 Mustang fighter, after replacing its original engine. Its power and reliability gave the Allies a decisive air advantage. There is a reason why they call it the engine that won the war. Rolls-Royce's contribution to the victory was etched in history, and the grateful nation honored that achievement. By the end of the war, Rolls-Royce was much more than a luxury car manufacturer. It had become a benchmark for cutting-edge aeronautical engineering. But the challenges continued with the advent of the jet age. With the same pioneering spirit as Henry, the company turned to developing jet engines, relying on the ideas of engineer Frank Whittle. In the late 1940s, its first turbojets equipped the first British jet fighters, such as the Gloucester Meteor, initiating the transformation into the turbine era that would define the second half of the 20th century. Chapter 7: The Fall and Resurrection of a Brand, 1945 to 1990. The post-war period was a roller coaster ride for Rolls-Royce. On the one hand, in the 1950s and 1960s, the aerospace division flourished. The company established itself as a leading supplier of jet engines for commercial and military aircraft, with pioneering innovations, such as the first turbofan for wide-body aircraft, and even participation in flagship projects such as the Concorde. On the other hand, at the end of the 60s, a crisis germinated. Rolls-Royce bet on the ambitious development of the RB211 turbofan for the Lockheed TriStar, but the cost overruns and technical problems were enormous. In 1971, the company went bankrupt and went into liquidation. The British government intervened by nationalizing it because of its strategic importance, creating Rolls-Royce, 1971, limited to continue aerospace operations, while the automobile division was spun off in 1973 as Rolls-Royce Motors. Thanks to the state bailout and a restructuring, Rolls-Royce resurfaced. The troubled RB211 was perfected and eventually a success, equipping the TriStar and later the Boeing 747. In 1987, the healthy company returned to the private sector when it was reprivatized, once again becoming a symbol of industrial strength. The company then broadened its horizons. It bought the American Allison engine and diversified its businesses into defense, navy, and energy. What about Rolls-Royce cars? The car division went its own way. In 1980, it was acquired by the Vickers conglomerate and continued to produce luxury models such as the Silver Shadow and Silver Spirit. In 1998, Vickers decided to sell Rolls-Royce motor cars, sparking a fight between BMW and Volkswagen for the historic brand. After negotiations and legal battles, BMW obtained the rights to the Rolls-Royce brand from 2003, while Volkswagen kept Bentley and the Crewe plant. Thus, since 2003, Rolls-Royce Motor Cars has belonged to the BMW Group, which built a new factory in Goodwood, England. That year saw the debut of the Phantom 7, the first model of the BMW era, celebrated as an instant classic for combining traditional opulence with modern engineering. The resurrection of Rolls-Royce cars was consummated, paralleling the continued success of Rolls-Royce plc taking to the skies. Chapter 8. Rolls-Royce until 2025. Legacy, Innovation, and Prestige. The Rolls-Royce brand is today divided into two entities of common origin but distinct paths: Rolls-Royce Motor Cars, super luxury cars part of BMW, and Rolls-Royce Holdings plc, aerospace engines and power systems. Both embody Henry Royce's vision on a global scale, maintaining a reputation for uncompromising excellence. In the automotive field, Rolls-Royce Motor Cars is experiencing a stellar moment. The brand has broken recent sales records, exceeding 6,000 units per year in 2022 and 2023. Its cars remain extremely exclusive. Demand exceeds supply, as each unit is assembled almost by hand at Goodwood and customized to the customer's taste through the bespoke program. The current catalog maintains legendary names with modern technology: Phantom, Ghost, the Cullinan SUV, its best-selling model, and, as a historical milestone, the Rolls-Royce Spectre Electric Coupe. This first 100% electric model, launched in 2023, inaugurates the plan to have the entire range electrified by 2030. The Spectre retains the essence of the brand, artisanal luxury and sublime soundproofing, now with state-of-the-art propulsion. Rolls-Royce thus manages to combine cutting-edge technology with centuries-old tradition. For its part, Rolls-Royce Holdings plc is a pillar of the global aviation industry. It is the second-largest manufacturer of aircraft engines in the world, and its Trent turbines equip many modern wide-body aircraft: Boeing 787, 777, Airbus A350, etc. It also provides engines for military aviation, naval propulsion, and energy solutions. Following the pandemic hit, the company returned to profitability in 2023 and continues to invest heavily in innovation. It has successfully tested a record-efficient UltraFan turbofan, explores sustainable aviation fuels and hybrid electric propulsion alongside Airbus, and even develops small modular nuclear reactors, SMRs, for future power generation. Rolls-Royce's reputation remains unmatched. Its cars epitomize supreme luxury, favorite vehicles of heads of state, royalty, and celebrities, with one-of-a-kind additions like the boat tail costing nearly $30 million. Its engines symbolize British reliability and precision. The soft hum of a Rolls engine is said to be a guarantee of peace of mind in flight. In addition, the company is committed to a sustainable future and aims to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. In essence, the spirit of Henry Royce still guides the company. His maxim, "Strive for perfection in everything you do. Take the best that exists and do it better," remains an internal mantra. Every car that comes out of Goodwood or Turbine assembled in Derby carries that DNA of uncompromising excellence. The brand that earned the title of Best Car in the World keeps its mission alive: to seek perfection in every creation. Thus, in the midst of the era of artificial intelligence, electrification, and space exploration, Rolls-Royce continues to stand on a unique pedestal, a symbol of timeless luxury and a standard of the most advanced engineering. The story of Henry Royce and Rolls-Royce reminds us of what can be achieved with perseverance and vision. That barefoot boy who sold newspapers in the cold streets of London ended up revolutionizing engineering and leaving an industrial legacy that transcends generations. He went from extreme poverty to rubbing shoulders with royalty, from fixing lamps in a humble basement to building engines that crossed oceans and won aerial battles. His life seems to be taken from a movie, and today we have narrated it in an epic tone. Henry Royce's tireless pursuit of perfection, that mixture of obsession and passion, lives on in every product that bears the double R. Rolls-Royce is not just a company, it is a symbol. It proves that excellence is achievable when no effort is spared. It symbolizes triumph over adversity and the union of craftsmanship with innovation. Seeing a modern Rolls-Royce gliding silently, or hearing the hum of a Boeing 787 streaking through the sky, remember that behind it are the dreams of a man who never settled for less than the best. If this true story of hard-fought success has inspired you, we invite you to share the video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. As Henry Royce taught us, we can always aspire to more. Seek perfection in everything you do. Thank you for joining us until the end, and we'll see you on the next adventure.